Happy birthday, Andy.
Oh, thank you, Bob. Today is Donna's birthday.
Wow.
Yesterday was your birthday.
Right.
Happy birthday, Andy.
And
Yeah.
Donna.
And Donna,
Both of
happy
you,
birthday.
Andy and Donna.
Both.
And
Absolutely.
Donna.
I'm going to get out and try to come back in again.
No, Andy, you're good. I changed your name for you, Andy. I
Oh,
changed your
thank
name.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good. Hey, Paul, can you pause, throw everybody on mute, and we're gonna roll.
I think, oh, you want, can you hear me?
Paul Bloom. Sorry, Paul Taub.
Oh, okay.
Charles, you're starting, man.
Oh, I thought it was still muted.
No, you're good.
Is that what you're waiting for this whole time? Is for me to start, David? Okay, I'm gonna kick us off. I think one of the things I have to start with is what many of the folks who work with CP are thinking as they see all your faces, and that's how very, very cool it is to see all of you. It's actually moving when thought about in the context of who we were back in 2018, what we thought this would be, or what you all thought that this would be when you clicked the link to join, not just this event, but this organization, what you were driven by personally, and what you wanted and still want for this country, what you hope you could achieve by joining us. That's all moving. It's very, very moving. I became a father when I was 23 years old. And so I got to witness kind of growth over time really, really early. And so just 2 years of us doing this work, I get emotional when I see y'all. And I'm proud of us. I'm really, really proud of us. As stoic as David and I seem on some of these, whatever chats and workshops and salons and stuff, we are two of the biggest saps. You don't know this, but we just like call each other and cry sometimes. It is so awesome what we put together. I'm sorry, David. I'm just putting it out there, man. But it's just really cool to see you all. Said, this is the end of June. We've got 17 weeks. 17 weeks to make some real change in this country. So we're going to celebrate today, and we're going to evolve. You're going to see the website look a little different. The name's going to be different, but you all are going to be the same. This team is going to be the same. Our mission is going to continue. And after this, we're going to get back to work because we're not done. Not even close to done. In fact, we are just getting started. Let's go.
All right. Hey, everybody, it's really great to see you all. I love the kind of populating of the Zoom room. It's a really cool thing to see. The reason we're celebrating a birthday for CP today is because right after July 4th in 2018, Charles and I and Maguette Ganegas went to meet with an accountant downtown and said, look, we're really down for voter registration, but we want to make sure we can support certain candidates too. And we're pretty sure we're going to break the law if we don't create a PAC. All right. And Charles and Maguette and I sat down and he took us through it. His name is Phil Lloyd. He took us through it, set it up right there. And so we became a PAC and a non-profit, fiscally sponsored relationship with Fuse Washington. We became those in July of 2018, and that has given us the flexibility to do the work that we do, that all of us do. And so today, end of June, July 1st, essentially is a great day for a birthday party for us in CP. And we're combining it with our shift of our name as well to Common Power. You'll see a video that Charles will share later today that captures this moment, and the website itself already been turned over to Common Power, changed over, I should say, by Charles and Wole. We have a whole program here, and we're gonna run through it with a pretty good pacing. Lots of people to share, very short kind of vignettes. But I just wanna finish my little opening bit by saying, we are in the midst of two moments in this country's history that are defining for all of us. We're in the midst of a pandemic that none of us have ever been through, a health pandemic that has changed our lives, made unemployment at record levels, upended everything. And that's a new thing. That's a new crisis that we need to deal with. And then we're in the middle of the oldest crisis that people on this continent have ever had, ever since European settlers landed on the shores of North America. And that is the crisis of racism, all right? It turns out that the work that we do in Common Power can help in both of those areas, all right? In COVID, we can help people to vote. And in the fight for Black Lives Matter, we can fight for voting justice, because fundamentally, voting justice is a racial justice matter. So we are honored to have your work with us and for us to do this work together. And we are all in, and this is a little celebration of it in the midst of some very grave realities for us. So thank you all for coming today. The program is going to look like this. I'm going to pop up on our screen our Common Power Way, our 3 circles. And we're going to have a series of our leadership and a couple supporters share very short kind of statements about why they're part of Common Power. We're then going to bump everybody back into small group rooms for a moment. We're then going to come back, and Charles, Douglas, and Maria Bando are going to share some substantive kind of centerpieces of this little gathering. Then in our 4th event, we're going to have a few more people share about why they're part of Common Power. And then we're going to close today. So welcome today, and we're going to aim to end right about 1 o'clock roughly. So glad you're here. Now, if you're not familiar with Zoom, or if you are, I might recommend that you use up in the upper right-hand corner, you pop the screen view up on speaker view. It just helps a little bit to see everything. And I'm going to share my screen right now to show our 3 circles for Common Power. These are the 3 pieces that define us. Charles, I can see you on my screen. Can you raise your hand if you can see this okay, Charles? Okay, cool. Mindset, Mojo, and Mobilize, those make us us. That is what you all have bought into, and that we can't do this work unless you buy into it with us, all right? And I'm gonna ask a series of speakers to talk about, they aren't gonna specifically talk about Mindset, Mojo, and Mobilize, but I wanna have this as the backdrop for our work, that we believe and are committed to a just and inclusive democracy, and we take action. That we believe in the importance of community and teams, and in amplifying and prioritizing next generation leadership. And that we are committed to voter registration and voter mobilization, voter catalyzation in partnership with organizations around the country. That's the work we do. So to make it easiest through our process here in Zoom, I'm gonna call on folks one at a time, and they're gonna pop into your screen, and they're gonna give us, we've asked them to do a 1-minute share of why they're part of CP, all right? And I'm gonna kick it off with the person who was there right from the beginning. We sat down and talked about common purpose then, and she's with us in strength and power today. AJ, please.
Hi, folks. Thank you all for spending a lovely Tuesday afternoon with us. Really appreciate seeing so many folks who were there from the beginning, and also so many new faces. Why I'm part of CP is simple. David tricked me with the chocolate chip cookie. And I realized that also I was going to get the opportunity to create my dream job. We are, as we all know, in a historical election year. On top of that, it's never really been fair for people who look like me and some of the other staff at CP. And so CP finds a way for us to create the opportunity for people to have fair access to voting. On top of that, I work with some really brilliant people. And so all of the strengths that we all bring individually create a space that shows folks, gives you tangible proof that people of color are absolutely brilliant. And all of the things that folks have ever heard about BIPOC people is absolutely false, right? On top of that, I have nieces and nephews. At some point, some of you all may have been young when the civil rights movement was happening. And there's that question of like, what were you doing when these atrocities were happening? I don't want to look at my nieces and nephews when they're in high school and college and they look back at this really weird chapter in their history books and ask like, Auntie, what were you doing? I want to make sure that I was using whatever talents that I was given, whatever talents that I was able to hone to say that I was out in the front lines in the way that is most authentic to myself, doing something. And so CP gives me the opportunity, one, to be, to stretch, to be in uncomfortable situations that help me grow, and also to continuously support my coworkers who have not always been put at the forefront of these fights. I work with some really amazing Black and brown women, and we all have seen countless examples of Black and brown women being at the front lines. So the more that I can be in a position to support folks who are actively working towards change, the longer I'll be able to stay with CP. CP gives me hope. CP gives me a space for me to be able to prove to my nieces and nephews that absolutely work can be done and you can stay authentically yourself. So again, thank you very much for all of you being with us. I hope we continue to grow because we are all gonna need each other come November, whichever way the chips fall. I think that we have created an absolutely beautiful community space, and it's something to be envied by other people. So I hope y'all get more of your friends to come and join us and to witness the brilliance that is the staff here at CP.
Hey, AJ, thanks a ton. So glad you're here. Daniel, you're up next.
Okay. It's a hard one to follow. Thank you, AJ. So beautifully said. And thank you all for being with us this morning and for being with us over the past 2 years and for being with us in the future. I think that I'm a part of CP for the very simple reason that I can imagine no other way that I'd choose to be spending my time and using my life. There's no other alternative for what I can imagine for myself. And I imagine that each of you can say the same thing. I know that all of my colleagues feel this way. I know that each of us on this call feels that this way. Anytime that I get discouraged, of which there are many times these days, and you get down and you think about why it is that you're doing what you're doing, I think to what other alternatives are present to me, and there's not a single one that is more satisfying to me and more meaningful and special to me than thinking about doing this work and working towards actualizing a truly just and inclusive democracy. Not simply that, but the way in which we do it, how we do it in service of one another, in community, and prioritizing these values. So I thank you all for doing that. And let's continue to be on this path, no matter how discouraging it might be, because this is the way that we need to be spending our lives.
Thanks, Daniel. So glad you're here, man. Jamie Lynn Wheeler, please.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to see so many familiar faces. Though I wish we could be in person, I'm glad that we have this alternative. Again, my name is Jamie Lynn Wheeler. I'm the Washington State strategist with Common Purpose, and I have worked with Common Purpose in one way or another since 2018 at the start of it, from volunteer to Washington State captain to now a contractor. And I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of you on the line and participants on important issues impacting our state and our democracy, which has been a really transformative experience for me. And I'm a part of Common Purpose for a lot of different reasons. CP is the first professional experience I've been given access to that was intentionally created for Black, Brown, and rising leaders. And never in my professional life have I gotten to work on things that matter with people who look like me and who are and who have similar experiences that I do, and that are in leadership positions and at the helm. So though I know that these opportunities exist in the world, they just hadn't really existed in mine until CP came along, Common Power now. So I've been devoted for 8 years to being a voice in politics, and though at times it's been overwhelming and scary, I've felt like, I was the only young person or the only Black woman at the table. CP has shown me that this is changing in a really intentional and welcoming way, and so I'm really grateful for that, and thank all of you for all of your support and your community. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie Lynn. So glad you're here. Thank you. Next up is Wole, please.
Hey, glad to be here with you guys. I'm with CP because of a trip I took to Florida and being able to experience firsthand the power that we can have on an election and in people's individual lives by knocking on doors and helping them be a part of the democratic process. And so just being able to be a part of that and bringing that energy to different states and continuing that community and that same energy here in Washington, let me know that I had a place here in this space, in the civic space, in politics. I grew up volunteering in local elections for city council, and I was always the youngest, always the one person of color in these groups. So it wasn't that welcoming. And so when Charles and David started to create the idea of a millennial initiative focused on bringing in people of color, more younger folks, that excited me, and it let me know that there was a place in this industry and civics for me, and there were resources and a community that were willing to expand that space for others to join. And so that's what excites me every day, being able to have the resources and work on bringing more people into this space, and also just changing the stigma around what we think politics and civics looks like, changing the stigma of how to make change, and really diving into the mechanics of it all and sharing that education, sharing these platforms with other people to be a part of. So that's really why I joined CP. And not to mention, the team is just amazing. Like Jamie Lynn was saying, I haven't been able to work with such a diverse group of people before, and it truly is a pleasure, and I get to learn from them every single day. And not just like the older mentors like Charles, Larcy, David, but also from our interns and the younger folks that are hired. I think being able to be in a space where youth and their opinions are actually valued and empowered is truly special. And I think you see different results and what makes Common Purpose or Common Power so unique, because those ideas are able to have room to grow and are pushed and nurtured by the team, from the younger folks, and we're also able to learn from the older folks as well. So I just love the dynamic of the team and the way that we empower new ideas in the next generation.
Hey, Wole, thanks so much, man. So glad you're here. I'm gonna ask two community members who volunteers and supporters of ours now. Terry Olson Miller. Terry, you're up next, please.
Thanks, David. I'm part of, first of all, thank you for this request. I'm part of Common Power. because of all the work that Common Power is doing for our next generation. I think over time, I spent time this morning looking at the website again, and it was such a joy to see all the faces, to learn about the history, continue to get to know the staff. And as everyone has said prior to me speaking about the joy that they have with these opportunities. The opportunity for their voices to be amplified, to have the opportunity to develop and hone their leadership skills. And on a personal note, the opportunity for me to offer what I can in the stage of my life that I'm in to the next generation. To be able to offer these, what I can, and then to watch the next generation and the staff of Common Power grow and blossom. It just really touches my heart, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Terry, thank you so much. Your support means so much. Ellen Ferguson, you're up next, please.
You're muted, Ellen.
Whoa, thank you. Hi, all. Oh, geez. I am part of Common Power to be in this beautiful, beloved community with multi-generational, multiracial group of people who want to be part of the change that we want to see and be. It's inspiring every day to be in community with folks that are leveraging the power of the vote, not only in our backyard at SeaTac City Council, but across the nation, Virginia, Florida, places that when CP could travel, they were traveling to those spots, already part of history. And I'm part of CP just because they're smart and strategic, and we're able to pivot so quickly from a pretty tour-based group to an online group, and we're still making such a difference in so many states across the nation, and it's keeping me fully engaged in changing who's at the table. Now, I'm of the boomer generation. A lot of good things came out of the boomer generation, but one big thing that we did not focus on was who's at the table, who's in the room where the power is happening. And that would be in our Congress and our Senate, city councils, mayors, wherever. Sadly speaking, it still looks pretty much like it did in my day, older white gentlemen. Now that's been shifting a lot in the recent years, and that's the next big shift that this activist generation is going to carry forward. And mine was an activist generation. This is the next great activist generation, multiracial, and I appreciate multi-generational. It's one of the things I love about CP as an elder now. I think that I feel very warmly welcomed and love working in community with all. Common Power is just the best on-ramp to civic engagement and best place to be, and particularly in this time of isolation for us all, to be together in community to make the change that we want to see, having America look, and our democracy look like us all.
Thanks, Ellen. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all your support and engagement. All right, our last speaker in this segment is MJ Jimenez. MJ?
Hi everyone. Oh my gosh, how hard. It's so hard to go after all these amazing people. Wow. But it's an honor to be here with everyone. I am just so humbled and so inspired and so happy that I get to be part of this community. I mean, if I think back to last year where I was working in SeaTac, actually, it's funny that Ellen mentioned it. I was the campaign manager for the 4 candidates that were running in SeaTac. 2 of them made it, and that's a really proud moment for me. And now they're representing their communities, and that's why I'm here. Exactly why I'm here, because I want to be able to raise the voices of my community across the country. And I've had the privilege and honor, and the folks who are here have supported me to be able to do that, have given me the platform. I had never imagined that I could do that, and now I am doing it. And it feels amazing, and it feels great, and it feels like I have a place where I know my beliefs and my leadership is appreciated, and I am really happy and really appreciative of the folks that I work with. I mean, I loved how AJ and Daniel and Wale and Jamie Lynn put it together, but it's true. I've never been around so many young folks of color who are part of a team, who are part of my world, my life, and are doing the same thing that I'm doing to create a better world for all of us and for generations to come. So I'm really, really grateful. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm ready to continue the work. I'm a first generation immigrant, and I never imagined that I'd be in this place in this very moment. My birthday is actually on election day, so it's going to be a crazy day, but we're doing all that is possible to make that a good day. So thank you so much to everyone for being here, and let's do the work. Thank you.
Thanks, MJ. So glad you're here. So glad. All of you who shared, really, it's a privilege for us to be in community with you and for us all together to be here. We are going to now go into breakout rooms for just 5 minutes maximum. So it's going to be quick. It's going to be quick. And Paul Bloom, thank you, Paul, for producing this work for us today behind the scenes. Paul is a volunteer who made the mistake a few months ago of offering to help us out on things, and he's been producing and helping us on Zoom so much. Paul's going to pop us into breakout rooms, and here's the question. One word, please, share with the people in your room. One word that captures how you're feeling about the next 4 months. The next 4 months, all right? We have a mountain to climb, and then we have another mountain to climb after that. But right now we've got one right in front of us, and we got to climb that one. So one word of what you're feeling, and elaborate with folks. We're going to be in there for maximum 5 minutes, and then we're going to come back. Paul is going to pop us in there. We'll see you back here in a few minutes. Hey folks, we just popped people into breakout rooms for a quick little conversation. They're sharing one word about how they're feeling for the next 4 months through this election. And it's real quick. It's like a 3-4 minute little breakout room. So Paul is going to pop you in there, and we'll see you back here in a minute.
Thank you.
Yep. Great to see you, Shelby and Jennifer. Great to see you here. And Ruth, it looks like you just came in too. So Paul is going to pop everybody into the breakout rooms. See you back here in just a couple minutes. Hey, Paul, when you're recording, are you recording on speaker view?
I think it's actually recording on your computer, David, because you started the meeting and it was set to record automatically.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because that's the way it was set up. I'm just looking, there's a couple of folks, Deanna, Ruth, and Andy. You should have been a little notification asking you to accept to go to a breakout room. If you see that, could you click on it so it'll put you into the breakout room? Yeah, I think they may have stepped away.
Yep. It's going great so far.
Yeah, that was really touching, really moving. The statements that they made, really.
Yep.
To see them all speaking at once was, yeah.
Really appreciate you doing this, Paul.
Oh, my pleasure, David. I love doing it.
It's a crazy world right now, man. It's a really crazy place. It feels so good to be doing something that, like, you can't do everything, but we can do something.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. One of the people who just spoke said, that they, I think it was AJ who said, they want to be able to look back and tell their kids and tell their people, like, what did you do during this time?
Yeah,
that's why I left. That's why I took this leave. That was kind of the ultimate. It wasn't the only reason, but it was the main thing that I'd done a lot of thinking, a lot of writing, a lot of journaling, and I wanted to be able to say, like, I did everything I could possibly do.
Totally.
And didn't want not just complaining about things, but doing things.
Yep. And it involves these incredibly mundane things like this, right? It involves this stuff, but that's what it takes, man. That's what it really takes. So how many people were in the room? 3?
3 or 4.
Yeah,
Depends.
that's good. Call them back with 60 seconds to go, okay?
Want me to broadcast now?
If you tell them if you say, come on back, they've got 60 seconds, right?
Well, it's 30. I think it's set up as 30 seconds, but I can just send a message to everyone saying, hey, everyone.
1 minute.
1 minute. Yeah, I think it's set to 30 seconds. So do you want me to close them now?
Yep. Hey, everybody. Welcome back from the small groups. When we learned how to break into doing the breakout rooms for Zoom, that was a very exciting moment for us at CP because we had lost that ability, we thought, for a while, but it's been able to recreate it in different ways, of course, but still very real ways. We're going to ask 2 folks to share from their breakout room, not about the room, but their own answer that they provided in their breakout room. And we asked a couple folks in advance if they'd be willing to do this. So if you're on speaker view, go back to speaker view because we're gonna have them share 2 folks, 2 of our volunteers who've been a very important part of this. I'm gonna start with Bill Vanderbilt, please. Bill, you're up.
We had a lot of fear, not really fear, but we had a lot of trepidation in our breakout room, and we had a lot of hope. And my personal word was purposeful is how I feel. I feel like I've been given a purpose in my life for the next 4 months, actually for the last 4 years, but in any case. So I think, and we had an interesting discussion about the controversy, or the conflicts between hope and fear, or hope and anxiety. So that's pretty much what it was about. And I think that Common Purpose, as much as anything, has given so many of us the opportunity to express our hope and to work our hope into very functional ways, not only by doing our not only by doing our canvassing and whatever else, but also because of what you guys do with everybody who works there, all the people that you're bringing along, all of that. It's just a remarkable organization. And I'm sorry for saying common purpose, common power, but I have until tomorrow to say that right.
We are all struggling with that as we get used to it, Bill. So much. Bill is calling in from Florida today. Thanks, Bill. Yeah.
You bet.
And Nancy LaRusso. Nancy, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Our room actually had a lot of action verbs going on in it. And mine in particular it was the most boring of them all. I feel really energized, super energized actually. And one of the things that's just, I think just lights a fire under me has been my individual interactions with some of the young leaders that you have in Common Purpose. I haven't met all of them one-on-one, but it has been so uplifting for me to have their energy and their dedication and their commitment, that as a white middle-aged woman, it just feels like that is something that just drives me every day to see what they're doing and how do I be something that can both support them and do the work that they need to get done so they can continue to lead us here. So really energized for the next 4 months and beyond, because I'm not that old, so I'll be with you for a while.
That's great. That's right. Well, I'm 53 and I am dang young. Okay, so
53 years wise. That's how we say it. 53 years wise.
Sure. Thank you, Nancy. So great to have you here. What I'd like to do is to ask everybody who is familiar with the chat function on here to go ahead and type in your word. Go ahead and please type in your word, and we're going to see them come zooming through your chats. Okay.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh.
Hey, somebody, once I type that in, how do I send it?
Hit return.
Hit return, okay.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. One of the ways that I have found through Zoom to feel connected to other Zoomers in the room is just to see the chat. Okay, our next segment here, and you can all look through the chat as you'd like, is going to be Maria Bando and Charles Douglas. We're calling this section of this birthday event Forward. And they're going to take it for the next 10 to 15 minutes. So go ahead, please. Thanks.
Maria, I forgot if I go first on this. I'm assuming yes.
Go for it,
Take us
Charles.
home, I think. Okay. I just have to call out, Maria is in our office, and looking at her background, it makes me really miss hanging out with the team. It really does.
It's not the same without you guys.
I know, it's super empty. We'll get back there. But also, I mean, we're learning how to find community in these spaces, and that's we've been really successful in that. A reflection of who we are now is the name Common Power. We talked about this in some of our talks, but we have a habit of formalizing ourselves around name or entity after we've already become this thing. And we really have been an organization that's fought for a common power to be shared amongst everyone. And we're really privileged up here in Washington State, and we want more voters around the country to be able to realize their own common power, the power of the vote. So the name change towards Common Power was easy. And we wanted to cap it off with a special video that not only will fully explain what it means to us, all of us on the team, in our own words, but also give you a tool to direct folks to, because really, we're not a name change organization. We are an action organization. We want to get back to it. And so you just send people who are confused about this new name straight to this video. It should do all the talking for you. And that way we can get back to the phones and the emails and do this good work that we're doing. So we just finished this last night. I think we finished this video. And it's another reason for David and I to cry together on the phone tonight. You got it up there, man?
Can you see it okay?
I
haven't started playing it yet, but can you see the screen?
You know, if you click the YouTube icon on that video, it'll pop it up in the YouTube, I think. There we go. And then you can just make it real big. Through our votes, we the people, is an audacious declaration that power should reside with everyday Americans. Through our votes and civic action.
From the beginning, Common Purpose has said we're about voting justice. We're about diverse next generation leadership. We have said that we are an on-ramp for all people to be part of this process.
Common Power all at once captures who we are as an organization already, who we've been for a while, and also captures what we want for America, what we hope America becomes.
The vote is one of the most powerful things that an average citizen has. And the amount of work that goes into preventing people to have the access to vote dictates how powerful it actually is.
Policy making was about power. It was about who has power, who is willing to give some of that power up, and then also who has never had power at all, historically.
For me, this name change signifies that in American politics, it's not enough for us to have purpose and a sense of inspiration for doing the work. It's really about a sense of power.
Our work right now, with everything that's going on in society and in our country, just to me kind of peels another layer of injustices and peels another layer of like work we still have to do. And it's not the beginning nor the end of a long fight. It's just an opportunity for generations to pass on the baton to continue the fight.
The work that we're doing today matters so much, and it's going to reflect many years to come. So I think that I'm lucky and I feel privileged that I get to do this work because I know how important it is. People out there who don't have the power to raise their voices will because of the work that we're doing.
People only tend to show up when there's a fire. And so CP isn't about just showing up for this election. We're about showing up for every election after this.
I've been part of an organization that really believes in me and is invested in me and made me feel like that I can make a difference. I'm always asked, like, what's my opinion? How can we improve this? What do you think about this? And so being in a position where I'm doing meaningful work and I also feel like I'm a meaningful and valuable player has really changed my perspective of getting eager to go into the workforce and go into this work because I know that there are people who are part of this community that want me to come along.
What I've loved is there's so much power in what we can be doing as a community across the country, but working towards common initiatives. But it's really just the people.
Community of people with shared values, multi-generational, multiracial, working together on our common goals of a much, much stronger, healthier democracy for all.
We believe in the same thing, And we're all in it together, fighting for the same just and inclusive democracy. And we're all willing to use the privileges and the power that we have in order to make that a reality.
Being a part of a legacy or an organization that is focused on the future and next generation leaders not only empowers me, but it also allows me to empower my community, my friends, and it's why I wake up every morning and I'm excited to be a part of this organization and do the work that we do.
Let's turn our idealized common purpose
into genuine common power.
Further together.
Further together.
Further together.
Holy cow, it's a good video. We are awesome. I mean, holy cow, we are so freaking awesome. So special shout out to Wale. So Wale didn't make this whole video, but his influence is all over it. It's his network of people who created this for us. Actually, the people who drove this rebrand and the video creation went with us on a trip to Virginia. So they're of our community, and it couldn't have been anybody else. So thank you to him for bringing us this. He's one of those quiet individuals who puts a stamp on a lot of things without people knowing from behind the scenes. So yeah, it's just, this is what we're building together is really great. And you'll see more of this in the future, and you'll meet these people. You'll meet these people and more folks like them. Maria, I don't even know what to say. Oh, go ahead, Wally.
I was gonna say, I definitely had a part in this video, but Charles also had a huge part in it as well, and the website and a lot of the branding that went into this. So shout out to Charles as well. I've been able to learn a lot from him and all the professional skills and experience he brought from Starbucks to CP. So shout out to him as well.
Thanks, man. Maria, I don't even know what to say. The video is going to be up on the website in 8 minutes. It's going to automatically drop on the website. So you'll see it there. You'll be able to share it directly from there. But I'm really proud of us.
What? Oh my God. Guys, we have been hearing about this video, working on this video. It is amazing. I'm caffeinated, so I'm really excited about it. But I just want to say, like, amazing, awesome. And how awesome to be able to do that today on our birthday party. Those of you who know me know that I love birthdays. I love gift giving. I love getting the opportunity to, connect with other people, be in community, celebrate people, because people to me are core to everything that we do, and core to everything that, I hope to do as a leader. And I love birthdays as well, because we really get the opportunity to reflect, right? We get the opportunity to think about where we've been and how far we've come. And since Common Purpose got started in 2018, and now us making this transition to Common Power, it's amazing to me how much growth we've had. And my personal growth too, when I think about it, when I came in and joined CP in 2018, I was 23 years old, so young and naive. And now I actually just had my actual birthday a week ago. So a week ago from today. So it is kind of interesting to think and to reflect, to sit and be in this moment, and like David was saying, it's a tough moment to be in right now. It is. We've got the pandemic We've got, people losing their lives across this nation, people losing their jobs, people losing their livelihoods. We've got the Black Lives Matter movement creating more necessary social upheaval as we're just trying to say, we deserve to breathe, we deserve to live, our lives matter, right? And we've got, amongst all of this going on, elections that are supposed to be happening. Really important, really impactful elections. And what are we seeing but the continued attempts at the suppression of the vote during this time, the suppression of power. So I'll be honest, like getting to reflect on our birthday, getting to reflect on my personal birthday, I've had some kind of tough times since we've came down into the pandemic. I've definitely had some moments where I felt disconnected from the community. I cried a lot because I'm a crier. Like as soon as I had to work from home, I was like in tears, just, feeling like I need people to lean on. And, just some hard days of just, where it was kind of hard to get out of bed, to be honest. And in those moments, I definitely looked to history to be an inspiration for me. There are some of you that, I've been able to connect with and have some conversations with to help lift each other up. But there's another part of me that some of you might know, thinking you, Lori Brown, out there, but I'm also an artist. It's a great way for me to be able to process my emotions, because I'm really not super great at it without having something, tangible or people to talk to kind of, be okay and figure out where I am. And so I did in this time also lean a little bit into art. And it is hard to have a job at all right now, but also it's especially hard for an artist. There's not a lot of opportunities to be doing shows. As an artist myself, I'm normally doing shows during this time. The last few years, I've been doing some gallery work. In the fall, I was excited to get a few pieces up in the Wing Luke Museum that was going to be open for the next few years. And obviously, we can't go to the museum and go check those things out right now. So I was constantly leaning into this to reflect within myself, but also I've been super appreciative of the way that CP has made sure, like David was saying, that this is a place for all people, regardless of your background, regardless of if you're somebody who loves teaching or loves science or loves the arts, maybe you love to dance, whatever it is, there's a space for you in the civic work, right? To be a civic leader, you can bring all of those pieces of who you are into this space. So I have appreciated that a lot, and I'm excited to be able to share with you today a piece that I have put together because of this moment, because I've needed to reflect, and also because, it's been centering for me, this piece has been centering for me on this question of how do we move forward? How are we moving forward together for a just and inclusive democracy? Well, for me, it takes a few things. And there are three things, like David, you guys remember David's three things. The piece that I'm going to be able to show you today has a few different themes. Number one, action. Like we're talking about, we have to be able to idealize, we have to be able to manifest and lead with purpose, but also be able to take that action to make this more just and inclusive democracy happen. So that's one. The second one is a recognition of the struggles of the past. So whether that's, like David was saying, all of the impacts of enslaved people that are still here today, the civil rights movement, the folks, some of you who are on this call who have been fighting and working, clearing the path for people like me to be in this work, and in some cases folks putting their lives on the line, putting their bodies on the line for this. And so it's really, really important that we continue to seek that knowledge of what happened in the past and to carry that forward with us as we work to build this new democracy, because we can't forget. We can't forget. It has to be there integrated and inspiring us, motivating us, and being a foundation for where we are. And then the last piece is togetherness. It's community, it's unity. It's that we know that this just and inclusive democracy isn't going to happen unless we're working together. And that's what we do in CP. And that's how we're going to be moving forward. So I'm excited to share it with you today. I have it here. I know David has like an image of it. This is, if you guys can see it, it is a 18 by 24 piece of art. I do charcoal drawings. I'll pull it a little closer that you can see a little bit about it. Obviously the eagle symbolizes our democracy. I like to use a lot of silhouettes to be able to signify emotions and especially past in this point of this democracy carrying and bringing with everything that it took in the past to be able to get to where we are today. And then all of the hands coming together in the middle. That's us, that's our togetherness. We always hands in at the end of the event to come together and say that we're in this together, be in community with each other, and keep moving forward. I'm really honored to be able to share that with you today. And I also, as CP's development manager, have an ask for you today as well. This is about all of these things. It's about community. It's about recognizing our past. It's about taking action and moving forward for the future. You can come into this work regardless of your background, regardless of your experience level. We need you. And our organization is going to continue to be dedicated to push us forward and to continue to work for that just and inclusive democracy. And so, today I'm going to be offering that if anyone and from now on into the month of July is willing to make a donation to CP at our website, or you can send a check, I will be sending you an 8 by 10 print of the piece that I have today. Regardless of how much your gift is, through the month of July, you will be receiving a print of this piece of art. And I'm really, really grateful for all of the support from the team as well, and supporting me wholeheartedly in all the pieces of who I am as an organizer, including my art. Overall, I'm just really, really excited to be moving forward with you and hope that you guys continue to be in this work with us and continue to join us. So thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Every one of these folks, every one of my I was just gonna say, the colleagues that I get to work with, they're incredible. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, AJ. Thanks, MJ, and all the way down the list. Okay, we want to go to one really closing segment here, which is again to hear the voices of our colleagues and in this case, one community member who's been a really important part of our work. So we're gonna go back to the kind of CP way mindset of 3 things of mindset, mojo, mobilization as our core principles, all right? And gonna ask a series of kind of folks to share, again, a minute roughly, of why they're part of CP. And we're gonna close with these voices today, and I'll come back right at the end for one final thing at the end. So Larcy is first up, Larcy Douglas.
It's so good to see all of you. We cannot stop saying that, because although we'd love to see you all in one room, one big event, we've gotten really used to this. I know September has gotten really used to this, and so she's also really used to seeing faces in a screen in a box. You know, one thing that I shied away from when I first started to join the organization, and then all of a sudden realized the support the organization has with passion, with people's passion, and with people's ability to naturally lead, is the idea that we can bring a younger generation along with our work. And I'm happy to say that because of CP, and why I'm also staying in CP is because I get to bring that future generation along. And so starting tomorrow, we are launching Action Academy, open to all college age students who want to just deep dive into civic engagement. It's going to be here throughout throughout summer and into elections. And you get to meet a few of them this morning. I'm going to kick it off to Layla, or actually Asha. Asha, why are you here at CP?
Okay, so thank you. So I think that before getting engaged with Common Power, I really didn't have a lot of confidence in my voice. I kind of got used to, like how many others are socialized, that that my voice didn't matter. And I think that CP really helped me to realize that it does. And it's showing me how I can engage in a way that not just the people in my community, in our community, but just all over the country, how we can show others that their voices matter too, and that we can really create long-lasting change all over the nation. So yeah, I love all of you guys. I love CP so much.
Thanks, Asha. Layla, are you still here? Where are you in CP?
Yes. So like others have said, I think that when I look back on the Trump era, when I look back on this kind of liminal space that many of us are in during this pandemic, when I look back on the civil rights revolution that's occurring, I really just want to be proud of my personal involvement in helping to fight for social and racial equity at large. So to be surrounded by a bunch of just truly badass, incredibly hardworking, devoted leaders has just given me so much hope, and largely just a lot of inspiration to use my positionality as a very privileged white woman to fight for real tangible change. So I think that one of the most unique aspects to CP is that I think that as a 20-year-old, like being a part of an organization that really values my opinion is just something that I have never experienced before, because I've worked a lot of like service industry jobs. It's normally like bottom of the pyramid given all the grunt work. But I think that I just feel so grateful that they have given me a platform and an outlet to fully tap into the creative side of my brain and to kind of just almost think boundlessly or like idealistically. I think it's just so, I just feel so blessed and so grateful for that opportunity, and that has really motivated me to continue my work with CP at large. And yeah, I've never really felt like my individual contribution has made much of a difference, academically or professionally. So CP is just really refreshingly unconventional in that sense. And I'm both like very simultaneously like inspired as well as empowered after I leave each interaction, not just with staff, but just within the larger CP political community. So yeah, CP has definitely just very heavily influenced my level of commitment and responsibility and passion I have for civics, as well as never thinking that I could find so much like satisfaction or empowerment in a political community, political family, because I normally separated those in the past. So yeah.
So I want everyone to go on their reaction icon on your Zoom, because Mina, Layla, Asha, and Kylie have been with me through the past few months, really developing this program, Action Academy, and we are ready to launch this. We've done a lot of focus groups to make sure that we are catering this program to get them engaged, to get them excited to be engaged. And we want to stay true to our principles. We want to give voice to our young rising leaders. And you know what? The they're ready to take it. David, all back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Larcy and Asha and Layla. And Layla, we got the chance to go to Kentucky together last fall and to help win an election there. That was awesome. Okay, we have a couple more voices here and we're gonna close with them. Kylie, please, you're next.
Absolutely. First, I want to say thank you all for staying on and being here, being part of the community at large as well. I'm part of CP. The way I answer this question is kind of twofold. First fold is because of my mom. My mom brought me to a workshop in November in the fall quarter of my second year at the University of Washington. And she just noticed that I was having a really hard time trying to figure out where I was going, what I was doing. But most of all, just like I was doing interview after interview for internships and for positions and programs. And it was so hard for me to go to them because I wasn't able to really speak from my heart. And I was really, you know, I did the research, I read their website, I read the position that I was interviewing for, but it wasn't me. And so I'm with CP because CP is with me. I talked to David and Charles after the workshop, and I sent them both emails. And I'm so used to being ghosted that I was like, I am never going to hear back from these people again. Like, it's okay. This was a great workshop. Interesting. I'll move on with my life. And I received emails from them within like 3 days. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe this is something that I'm gonna follow up with. And so I think that it really comes back to the next generation leadership part, because CP, not only when I was looking into it as an organization, promoted these great ideals, but through my lived experience, they were actually fulfilling them. And I see that with my work with the Mojo Makers, which I'm so excited to be a part of, and my work that I'm very thankful to be working with on Larcy with our next generation leaders for Generation Z. So I just want to say thank you. I feel so, so grateful to be part of this organization and for all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kylie. It's really great to have you here. Vanna.
Hello. Hi, friends. Hi, thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. I just came on as a new member in May to help with Larcy and finance so that she can take care of little baby September. So I'm helping her with operations and that. As for why I'm part of CP, it's mainly because of the next generation leadership. I grew up with leadership from Larcy, some leadership mentoring from Larcy, which I'm very, very grateful for. And I think it's really powerful to give that voice to people in the next generation. So it's really, really a great opportunity to work with younger, like-minded individuals of cross generations, of course, but to see this much action and power to empower the youth, and especially this Action Academy. So I'm super excited to be part of this and helping out with inspiring the next generation.
Hey, Vanna, thanks so much. It's really great to have you here. All right. We asked Andy Reynolds, who's been a supporter and a community member for us and an inspiration, if he might share as well. So Andy, you're up. Thanks.
Thanks, David. Boy, this has been something. It really makes me feel really good. It hasn't been easy for me preparing for this minute. There's so much I would like to say. First, I want to congratulate all of us in the CP family for the work and success we've had in the 4 years of our existence. Many of us were childlike when it came to doing the basic, most important work of politics, knocking on doors of strangers and the doors of our fears to get people, strange people, registered to vote. That first effort saw a number of candidates we supported get elected, and the passage of an amendment returning the vote to people in Florida who had committed a felonious crime. One critical accomplishment CP has had is the recruitment and development of young people, who I think of as our legacy. One of the mistakes we made in the civil rights days of the 60s was thinking we had won after passage of the Civil Rights and Voting Rights bills. We thought we had dealt a serious blow to racism in this country, but we were wrong. We didn't understand the depth of racism, how ingrained it is in each of us and in our system. What we had done was to lay a foundation for what is happening today. Now, for the first time since the civil rights efforts, the environment is ripe to use that foundation to make significant advances toward changing the racist narrative of our country. It's the hardest work facing us because much of the work is personal, both in recognizing our biases that we hold and working to lay the foundation for healing our communities. Just as many of us were fearful the first time we knocked on doors, we did it and achieved much. Now it's time for us to knock on our own doors, ourselves, our families and friends, even strangers. We can and must succeed. For us older folk, that means recognizing our time as leaders is over. Yes, we have had great success, but now we must step back and be ready with resources and assistance to be dispensed when asked. The first thing on that agenda is to learn to listen to those younger, 40 and under, so we can develop an understanding of who they are and what they want and need from us. We must do this if we are to make real, lasting change. We must do this if we are to make real the promises that we have made to achieve sorely needed change. We can do this if we are willing to trust young people to carry the torch for change. We can do this if we can understand that this requires a commitment unlike anything we've ever done before. We can do this. We must do this. Go team.
Thanks, Andy. Love you, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bert Greenwood is going to be our final voice here in this.
Hi, everybody. When David asked me to follow Andy, I had to take a big, big breath and decide whether or not I could even find the words to do that. What an honor to speak after Andy Reynolds. You know, the reason that I'm a part of Common Purpose is because we follow the inspirational leaders of yesteryear, like Andy and others. But we also amplify the leaders of the next generation, and we've had such a fantastic day-to-day hearing from all of them. I was in tears watching the video, as I'm sure a lot of you were too, seeing those beautiful faces. One of my favorite authors writes this, that if we are to grow into courage and power, we must move from the well into the living waters. And when I think of the living waters, I think of Fannie Lou Hamer, and I think of this quote that she said, "The world and America is upset, and the only way to bring about a change in America is to upset it more." And that's what I think Common Power does. We are together because we're going to upset this world and America and our democracy more. So let's dip our buckets into the living, moving, surging water of change and power and these young, brilliant leaders. And let's build a beloved community together, because we have a lot of reasons to celebrate. We have a lot of wins to commemorate. And as Andy said, we have a lot of work. Let's go team.
Thanks, Bert. Thank you so much. So glad you're here. Appreciate it. Okay. Charles wasn't lying when he said that. At least he's a sap, and every once in a while the dust gets in my eye. All right, and I've been crying a bunch here listening to these, the courage and the strength that's here in Common Power. It's an absolute privilege to be part of this body of work, these colleagues, to do it. I'd love to have us end. I'm gonna ask everybody maybe to put it back on if you're not already back on gallery view, so we can see everybody, or see, you know, as many as we can see at one time. And gonna ask us if we might sing Happy Birthday together. And in this particular instance, we're gonna sing Happy Birthday to Common Power. So on, what is it called? Verse 3, stanza 3. I don't know. I don't understand what this musical stuff is, but when we invoke the name, it's Common Power. But I do want to note that there are at least 3 people, and there might be more, whose birthday is today, who's part of our community. Donna Stringer, Ron Postuma, and Perry Aiken. All right. So it's your birthday today too. And Andy Reynolds, who just shared it, was yesterday. All right. So we're trying to hit as many as we can here. Maria was a week ago, but that's like yesterday. That's like 3 years ago in like political time. All right. So if we might all together come off a mute, this is going to be just gloriously not good, but if we can all come off a mute. All right.
I'm not sure you want that, David. I don't know.
And they have a phrase. I should have said this before we came off mute. Never mind. Let's just sing. All right. Here we go. Come with me, please. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Many more.
Love the solos. There were some solos in there.
Yeah, there were. They were great.
They were so creative.
Oh, this would be the part of the birthday party where we would hug each other. All right, so we would all hug each other. So we're gonna end with a thing that we do with Common Power. So we put our hands in the middle. We make a circle. So everybody hands in, and we swing them down on Common. And this is the first time we're gonna do this. We're gonna swing them back up on Power. Okay. Common Power. So
Power.
No, we're ready. We're gonna do it now. Okay, that was great.
Practice.
On 3, we go down on Common and up on Power. 1, 2, 3. Common Power. Thank you all so much.
Thank
you.
I'm
gonna stick around on this happy birthday.
Love you.
Yep,
Thank
Maria
you all
and I
for
will stick around for a while. Happy birthday, everybody.
Happy birthday. Love you guys.
Happy birthday,
everyone.
everybody. Wonderful.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.